Hello and welcome everyone to another guide from Schnorr-Billy Jorgensen. This one is going to be covering the American F80c jet. And this is still patch 1.37 or whatever. And unfortunately, at this point, the game is fairly unbalanced, and I have stopped making many videos lately and stopped playing very much lately, just because there's so much frustrating stuff in this game, situations and whatnot. But recently I decided to get back into it, make a guide of a lot of F80 footage that I had. Here's me landing. A lot of people have a lot of trouble landing jets, and yes, they are more difficult than most other planes, but they're also fairly forgiving as long as you come in at the right speed at the beginning of your landing. And this guide is going to be how to fly with the F80, mostly against other jets and better jets. A lot of the jets you're going to be flying against that are better than you are the Meteor F4, the MiG-15, and yeah, a lot of also German jets, especially if you're not upgraded. As you can see from this clip here, you cannot, or at least in an actual game, you cannot really break your wings off. There is pulling 16 Gs, and yeah, there's just no way. Also, I'm going to show how to kill some lesser jets, and like the MiG-9. The MiG-9 and the F3 Meteor are really not much of a competition for the F80. Of course, if they are upgraded and you are not, you're going to have to be very careful, as they have a lot better guns than you, can kill you instantly. But even then, just play carefully, energy fight with them, try to stay behind them. You can outturn them and outclimb them, and you're faster than them for the most part. So just be careful, and you can usually get them pretty easily. In this game, I'm going after a MiG-9, but as you can see, you can see on radar there's 3 guys next to me actually, 2 MiG-15s and a MiG-9. And here we go, one MiG-15 just crashed next to me. And if I had just gotten behind, used my air brakes, gotten behind the MiG-9 and taken them out that way, I probably would have been killed by one of the MiG-15s quite quickly. But instead I'm trying to do some energy retention maneuvers and whatnot. And I eventually get a MiG-15 on me after a few passes, as you can see. And the MiG-9 leaves, luckily. At least for a moment. He's going to come back here, I think, or maybe just run away. May have seen his opportunity to escape. I'm going to call for help and just try to dodge the MiG-15 as much as possible. Basically, in jets, you're going to do a lot of trying to not overshoot your opponent and trying to get your opponent to overshoot you. Of course, I have an ally here, and he's going to be completely useless and do nothing, even though he has an F80c, and I'm being chased by the MiG-15 the whole time. And this is part of the reason why I have kind of slacked off on playing War Thunder, and I'm really looking forward to Star Citizen, that new game by Chris Roberts, because allies in War Thunder are usually complete garbage. And eventually I do scissors into the MiG-15 and take him out, which is actually a fairly good trade, F80 for MiG-15, even though also the game will often give you a whole team of F80s against a whole team of MiG-15s. But took one for my team there. In this clip, I'm just going to show how staying outside of a fight and up at altitude, you can a lot of times catch another plane, enemy plane, doing something silly like going into a stall on a turn. He wasn't really into a stall, but he was going pretty slow. And with jets, you always gotta watch your radar and watch, as you can see in this clip, I'm watching my radar, both me and another guy are chasing someone, and this guy comes out of the sun. He appears on my radar for just a second. I turn to avoid him, and he just instantly kills my ally. Of course, he turns back towards me after I had started a scissors maneuver, and he tries to turn too fast towards me and overspeed crashes. So then I'm left with just cleaning up this MiG-9 that is pretty much full health, or pretty much undamaged from the last guy. So I'm just going to try to not overshoot him, stay above him and behind him, and take him out. You're going to have to use your air brakes a lot of times, or at least it's going to be quite helpful. You can actually turn faster while using air brakes, but it's not too significant of an amount. And even though it doesn't really make sense to me that air brakes would make you turn faster, but it seems like they do. And again, I'm got to be careful because there's a guy trying to go head on with me, and as you can see, I was aiming at this guy, but I was also changing the direction I was pointed as I was getting attacked by that other guy. And I really wanted to take this guy out fast because I knew if he started turning and I turned with him, the two allies that were behind me would be able to kill me very easily, including that LA-9 can just kill you from nowhere. Just one burst and you're dead very easily. Of course, a King Cobra comes just completely out of the blue on me. If you get a prop behind you, what you're going to want to do is dive away, or like me now, I don't really have room to dive. This guy was going quite fast out of a dive, so I'm just going to kind of angle one way and bob up and down a little bit. If by angling one way you make them lose their airspeed quite quickly because their top speed is going to be lower than you. If you just let them go in a perfectly straight line for quite a while, you will accelerate, but not that fast because you're a jet, and they will not slow down that fast. But if you make them turn slightly, not a hard turn because they'll just cut the corner behind you, but if you turn slightly, they will seem to slow down the fastest. That's the best way and fastest way to get away from people. So now we used our speed to just gain some altitude, and now we're above everybody. Got a little bit close to that MiG-9 there, but we're going to dive down, gain up enough speed that we stay away from the MiG-9, and try to kill this King Cobra as we're going through, and pull some negative G's there just to dodge him. As I turned around, saw that he was aimed at me just in time, and used my keyboard just to mash that W key down and pull some negative G's, so no way he's going to hit me. And now we're disengaging, gonna try to take stock of the situation. I don't have much ammo left, only 251 rounds, so there's not really much I can do. Yeah, I'm going to ask for help and try to make it a 1v1. And eventually I get the kill there. Here's another game. I'm going against a MiG-9. I wanted to put this in because this MiG-9 pilot was fairly good, actually. Got into quite a long dogfight with him. Probably a fully upgraded MiG-9. I take two bad shots there. I don't know how the first one didn't get a hit on him, but my latency is not very good, so that could explain some of it. I get kind of confused here because I couldn't see anything, and let him turn up around above me. I should have turned to follow him a little bit sooner because how long I waited, he could have had enough time to get around and get a shot on me. But once again, I'm back behind him. Now I just want to make sure that I don't overshoot him. And he's going to pull some crazy maneuvers. I think probably a fairly good pilot. As you can see here, he's doing a underhand loop and then doing a couple scissors back and forth, trying to get me to overshoot. If I lose track of him for just a moment. I could probably overshoot and he'd get a shot off on me. And that's really what you have to do with a MiG-9. It's kind of scissors and try to let him mess up. But as you can see here, I'm using flaps, I'm using my brakes, everything to try to keep myself behind him. And don't be afraid to use your flaps, use your brakes against stuff like the MiG-9. Of course, I'm out of ammo here, so I'm going to act like I'm taking another pass at him, but then dodge out of the way at the last minute. And now we're heading away from each other, so I can just cruise on out of here, no problem. So that was a moral victory. Here I see a lot of guys in MiG-9s right next to me. I'm just going to dive away from them. As you can see, I'm watching the numbers here. Those numbers for how far away people are from you are really important. Just watch how they change. As you can see, this Lee Sin guy, as I saw his numbers rapidly increasing, I knew he turned away from me. I couldn't really tell where his plane was angled, but just by watching the distance indicator, I knew exactly what he was doing, and I knew when I could turn around. In fact, I turned around a little bit late, but it doesn't really matter that much. At least I didn't turn around too early, which is usually the more important thing. You don't want to turn around too early and get caught in a position where you can't avoid a head-on or something like that. So unfortunately, my allies are turning with these MiG-9s, and they're turning with them in like a team fight, which gives the MiG-9 a distinct advantage. As you can see here, this guy is going to turn, and he can turn much faster than me because he's not going incredibly high speed. So I'm just going to use my energy to get above the whole fight again, so I can dive in and pick off any guy I want. Usually a guy who's on an ally or a guy who's going very slow is a good target, or just an enemy that doesn't have a friendly on him already. So yeah, don't follow the enemy in a big team fight in jets. It's very, very rarely a good idea, especially in American planes, which don't have the big cannons, don't have the sustained damage. As you can see this here, I passed this guy, overshot him, but I saw he was turning to the left, so I turned to the right as I overshot him, so you'd have to turn all the way back around to get a hit on me. Here, of course, I see a guy on my ally, so I go in, but I did go in a little bit too soon. I don't have my speed built back up, so I wasted a lot of energy doing that, and I got a guy on my tail. He got a very lucky shot on me and took out my wing, basically. But I'm still in the fight. I'm going to do one more loop around to try to see if I can either distract the enemy or get in some lucky shots on someone who doesn't dodge me. Luckily, though, that guy was chasing me enough that the Meteor was able to kill him. And that was a Meteor F3 who shouldn't have been able to kill normally, so kind of baited that guy into dying and did decently for this team fight. I'm going to go back in now, and as you can see, I can't really maneuver that much, but I can try to line up on a shot on this guy. He's going to go straight up into a stall after my ally, and I get a very easy kill there. Well, would be very easy. I can barely maneuver my plane, so it wasn't that easy. Here's against the F4. Now, you can't really outturn an F4. You can't go faster than you can't go faster than an F4. You definitely don't win in a head-on. But the F4 does break its wings off very, very easily, or at least it feels that way because it has such a powerful engine, so much acceleration, and if you are turning with it and also rolling at the same time, you just snap those wings off. So what I was doing there is I was diving down, trying to get a lot of speed, and then going into turn fight with him, trying to get a little bit of advantage that way. And he ends up losing me either because he can't turn as fast as me, or else he would overspeed crash, or just being blacked out. He lost me. he was on me at the beginning of that maneuver, and now I'm on him at the end of it. Of course, he's going to be able to out-accelerate me and get away. As you can see here, I'm wasting a couple shots because it depends a lot when you're with the F80. You're in the F80. Dodge the head on there. When you want to use your shots, because you don't have very much ammo with this plane. So you want to conserve your shots, but if you get an opportunity to hit a MiG-15 or an F4, you want to take your shots and don't mind too much wasting them, because those planes are better than you anyways. And there I went after an F3. The F3 is a pretty easy plane to kill. Compared to the F4, it's just night and day. And you do want to be careful because it has very good weapons, though. Here's another game against another F4, and as you can see here, I'm going to kind of make this guy overspeed crash in order to kill him. I've led him far away from the battle, try to get him into a one-on-one situation. I'm going to turn as fast as I can to the side, put on my air brakes so I can try to turn inside of him just by going a little bit slower. And I'm expecting him to retain more of his speed, but do a much wider turn. I just barely get a shot off on him, and then he overspeed crashes. I think what happened was I tagged him with a bullet, and he flinched or something, and broke his wing off doing that. Here's another game, a little bit of a team fight. Very good to be in a team fight situation against F4s, or at least be in advantageous numbers. I thought I could get hits on this guy without him getting hits on me, but unfortunately he did. You do not want to go head-to-head with an F3 or an F4. The F3 and the F4 have much better weapons, much better damage output than the F80. So team fights are bad for that reason, but they're much better for the reason that you really don't have any advantage against an F4 or one-on-one. I've played my F4 and I don't really like playing it because it's just not that fun to me, but I had one game where my entire team died and it was me against two F86s and two F80s, and I ended up, well, one of them crashed and killed the other three. It's just it's almost unstoppable play. As you can see here, I was watching my radar, had a guy on me. I just turned back around to verify that the guy was definitely on me. I'm using my air brakes to slow down and just try to dodge this guy, delay him. He has 20mm cannons, so I don't expect to live through this, but my ally is right on his tail, has a very easy, perfect shot to kill him. Of course, he's just going to kind of be his wingman, fly behind him, make sure no one else kills him, and then eventually let him shoot him down. This is part of the reason why I've kind of stopped playing War Thunder, because it's kind of frustrating with teams not helping and planes being completely overpowered compared to other planes. So yeah, you might see a few less tutorials from me lately, and looking forward to the future patches that actually balance the game and make it fun for everybody. I hope you found this guide helpful for what it is, and leave a like if you liked it. See you later.